you can look up the link.
All right, I am going on Facebook. Oh, jeez, I get so. Not that. Where's the little?
His
Oh, there
journey
it is.
creates the open seats, the clear flies,
Think
the
twice.
same defeats. Put your fingers on the issues.
It's you.
No,
No, I'm just
I don't see it on the
okay. I
Think
didn't
Twice
know,
radio
Greg, but
thing.
What were you
thanks
looking
for the
for, though?
reminder. No, it's okay.
What were you
I
looking
just,
for?
Just
If
kind
it
of
was a
connecting to
sunset.
the concept.
Oh.
Getting myself geared up.
Richard, I don't see it on the Think Twice radio page.
Refresh the page.
I don't know how to do that on my phone.
Quit the app and open it up again.
I did, and it's
Do it again.
okay.
History repeats the open seats, the clear replies.
No, the last one I see is one day ago.
Elvis.
No, it ain't.
The good Elvis.
Yeah, whatever.
Costello.
Yeah, exactly.
Paul and I have seen him 7 times live.
That's
Elvis.
nice.
7 times.
Yeah.
Not the good Elvis, you know. Costello.
Okay, now I see. If I hit live, I see it there. Okay. All right. So now I have
Said
to
he was high
figure out
class.
how
That
to-
was just a lie.
I said he was high class. That was just a lie.
But I don't know how to. I don't know how to share it from
He
this.
ain't never wrote a
spot.
song, and he ain't no friend of mine.
Dave Marsh used to say that Elvis should get songwriting credits just because he's such a good singer.
Richard, I don't know how to
That's
share
ridiculous,
it from
isn't
here.
it?
Maybe James can help
What's
you.
this? Is that yours?
James,
No, that's part of
I'm
Richard's
here on the live
studio.
feed,
Don't touch
but
that.
I
It's not a-
wanna
it's not a phone.
share it to
It's
my.
not a prop either.
It's not a prop, it's not a
there's
phone.
No,
Okay.
there's nothing that
It's something
says
else,
share.
but it's not a prop and it's not a phone. I forget what it is, but it's not a phone or a prop.
That's okay.
Don't
Light-
touch it.
I think it
though.
was a light or something, wasn't it?
It might be a light, but it's not a prop or a
That's
phone.
not
Just
us.
do,
Don't touch it.
do not touch it. Don't touch anything ever.
What is this?
Ever again.
This is us, and but I don't see a share.
This will be fun, Tosca. This will be. You'll be able to watch show number 2 and say, "This is another
Yeah,
great show."
Another great show. Yeah.
I think you will.
Eventually.
Every show will be great, just in its own way.
All right, so
You know. Oh, why are you leaving Bookface?
where is this?
What happened?
I won't say it on live.
Oh yeah, we're on live right now. Don't tell me after the
Copy
shoe.
link. Okay, that's.
Tell me before you leave why you're leaving Bookface. We're gonna miss you without you being on Bookface.
Sure they won't.
don't
Bookface
like
is
doing things
the
on my
best
phone.
website there is.
Yeah.
Keeps us all connected. You're off Bookface, right? You
I'm
don't-
off Bookface.
I
Paula,
thought so.
Paula, I just sent you a
See,
Facebook
Tosca's
message
also
with the
off.
link.
Well, I
You deactivated it, or you just
copied
got
the,
rid of it?
the link.
Got rid of it like
Oh,
15
yeah.
years ago.
Oh, that long ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Luckily, I have your phone number
I can't.
And my email.
and your email. What a lucky break for me.
And my address.
And your address.
Oh, there it is.
And we're close friends. That worked out well. Otherwise, I'd
Mm-hmm.
be disconnected from you. 15 years ago,
I
you're
know.
on
That would have
Facebook.
been. I would have just disappeared.
You wouldn't
Disappeared.
exist.
Yeah. Just gone.
Yeah.
Paul Slater
Did
said,
I-
"What's the
did I
subject
put it
here?"
up already?
Our friend Paul Slater just said, "What's the
Looks like
subject
it's
here on
there,
the
so you
screen?"
hit post.
He's-
We'll let you know.
Right.
Paul, the
But I
subject is
wanna-
how to emotionally
I wanna
satisfy a
say
woman.
something about it. I want to just.
It's only that, how to emotionally satisfy a woman.
Just go up here.
I can't.
Only all
I
about
can't
stuff about
get
relationships.
because it's too close to the. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Wow.
He must not know. He doesn't know what the title of the show is, so he had to ask, "What's the subject here?" Paul, this guy who just typed in Tosca is also born on my birthday.
Oh.
Isn't that, he's an
Good
April 4th.
Lord, another one.
Okay.
April 4th, this guy.
God.
I'm
All
April
right.
1st.
Can't deal
You're
with
April
two,
4th.
two April Fools, man.
Well, he's on the screen now.
Okay.
I have the answer. He just said after I answered him. Yes, you have the answer since I answered you.
So how do I?
Did you know we get people typing in when they're watching?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You know, you can respond to those ever if you feel like it.
Okay.
Well, what's the answer? We're in suspense.
I gave him the answer.
No. Didn't he just say he had the answer?
No, he said, I have the answer. After I
Right.
said, I gave him the answer, and then he said, I have the
hate
answer,
this. I hate
i.e., he
working
heard
on
me.
this on
We're
my phone.
live, remember?
I
That's why you
can't. I can't put
You
it
just
on your
modified
page.
it
I don't
again.
know how to do it.
Oh, don't worry about it. I don't care.
I can. I can get it.
Uh-oh.
I got it on
No.
my page, but
I
I
don't have my
can't.
glasses on.
That's fine. I don't have it on my page last time. I don't give a damn about it.
I can't.
It's cool, Paula.
There's no place. It doesn't say anything about.
See?
It doesn't say anything about putting the
doesn't-
tagging. It doesn't
I'm-
say anything about tagging.
I don't care. We'll do the show when Richard's ready. I don't give a damn about that.
I'm ready. I'm just waiting for the go-ahead from you.
Richard
Well,
could
I
tag
wanted-
us on
I
the
wanted-
live feed.
Yeah, he won't though. So
I already sent Paula the.
I know,
sent
but
Paula
I
the
can't.
feed.
I've got it on my Facebook page, but I can't figure out how to share, how to tag the other people. So I'm just going to leave it. I can't do anything with
Just
it.
to leave it this week.
I don't know how to do it. I don't like working with my phone. It's
Made-
frustrating.
Generally, you just type the person's name and it comes up.
But I mean, no, because look, if I do this, it says it. I
Let me try
I
something.
don't. I don't
How long
want
you
to
been
share.
married,
I don't
Laura?
want to share in
How long you been
Messenger.
married?
11 years.
Wow.
I don't want to share in Messenger. I want to share on someone's page, and if I just say share now, it's just going to share on my page again.
Sharing Messenger is a separate thing.
I know.
See, it says feed.
Yeah,
Type
but
my name. Type my name, and
you can't type your name there.
well, it could in this white space. See, right there.
No, that
Type-
says this is just gonna leave a message about it before I share it again on my page.
Try typing James and see what happens.
Can't stop it.
Then
Now
it's gonna
I'm
share again
linked.
though.
But that's shared on your feed.
And then, I hate this phone. All right, it's on everybody's page.
All right,
Well done, Paula.
let's start.
Not really, because I'm annoyed now.
Okay, when the timer says on the air, you're on the air, okay?
Okay.
That means you, Tosca.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to another scintillating episode of How to Emotionally Satisfy a Woman. And I'm here with Greg, Kenny, Paula, and our guest of the hour, James.
Hello.
Thank you. We'll dive right in.
So James, you sent me a link to a case where the woman tried to poison her husband with coffee,
Yes.
and then she got probation and that. Talk about that a bit.
Well, it's just interesting to me that we're allegedly in this patriarchy where women are oppressed and treated unfairly, and here's someone who's basically getting away with attempted murder and never even got charged with attempted murder. Her husband is an airman in the military, so he's not even getting alleged special treatment for being a military person. And she's just going to do probation and talk to a psychiatrist. Oh, by the way, her reason for poisoning him instead of filing for divorce is if he dies, she gets military pension benefits on top of what she would have gotten if she simply divorced him.
These are the kind of things James sends me on a regular basis.
Because you tell me how oppressed women are and how men are just holding the women down.
Traditionally, that is true because the women have we have just walked into this situation now of I hear myself coming from someplace else. We're just beginning to be taken seriously.
Allegedly.
What is that feedback? Please.
Richard's doing it.
I want the feedback to. All right. Okay. Anyway, so we're finally being listened to, and maybe there is a situation where it's shifted a little bit, but men are still in charge. Men are still the ones who hold power. Women are just advancing slightly. And why do why would you not want us to be in that situation where we're taken seriously when something happens? I mean, for years, you couldn't even go to the judge and say that you were sexually abused or raped, because you'd have to prove it. Nobody would pay attention to you. And now, yes, now people are paying attention. So why is that bad?
Which particular question do you want me to answer? There was a whole lot in that word salad there.
Well, why is it bad that we now have a modicum of power?
Are you saying that literally getting away with murder is something I should be happy about?
And how about all the men who had beaten their wives and got away with that?
Is your reply, what about the men?
Well, no. My reply is, what are all of the circumstances surrounding this? Okay, it doesn't sound like she got very far in her attempt to poison her husband.
He's not dead is all that we can say. She was smart enough to plan to do this slowly over time. So she was literally poisoning him every morning for months as his health deteriorated.
Sounds like a bad Lifetime movie.
Yeah, except usually it's the evil husband who's poisoning the wife in the Lifetime movie.
So-
We don't have a station where men get to smack their bitch up and everybody cheers.
See what I mean?
I'm saying
Well, just-
worst patriarchy ever.
So,
Okay.
so I'll,
Uh,
just
yeah.
So why don't I'm going to just step back a little bit because I don't really know you, but this is an opportunity to grill you. So did you read Greg's book? I'll start there.
I'm sorry, I have not read Greg's book.
Do you know what the book's about?
Well, I've heard the title.
Okay. So what was your expectation in coming today? Like what were your thoughts?
My thought was, as opposed to being on Paula's show where I don't get to finish a sentence or a thought or a paragraph, we might actually discuss things without someone saying, let's move along, because I don't like the way this is going.
Okay. But you're aware what you do have an understanding about what the topic of his book is, I guess, because you're on the show. I mean, you do at least know that.
Not
Oh,
his.
no.
He's not on his show.
You
He's
know-
been
on-
on my show.
Yeah, but I mean, today, coming to this show, you do know what the book. I mean, do you know what this podcast is about? I
I'm
guess it-
sorry, I haven't seen this podcast before. I assume that it's about relationships and whatnot.
Okay. So I'll just give you a background on this. So Greg wrote this book, How to Emotionally Satisfy a Woman, and from what he shared with me, his feeling was that many women he spoke to found themselves in relationships where they didn't feel like they were being heard emotionally. So what are your thoughts around that? If we start there.
My thought is that there is a problem in that men and women are different, and they speak different languages, and words mean different things to them. And so what you need to do to make a woman feel heard is to do something that is generally not in the wheelhouse of the average man, because they don't actually work that way. And on a side note, the guys who are seeking to do that kind of thing frequently, not always, have backlash from trying to do so.
Okay. Where do they get the backlash from?
The woman herself.
Okay. Could you elaborate more on that? Like, what might be fueling that?
Well, you'd have
Backlash.
to talk to a woman about that. All I know is that, for instance, when you want to just get something to eat, there's the difference between the guy who says, I'm taking you to X restaurant, be ready at 8 o'clock. I will pick you up, be ready when I honk the horn, and don't be telling me I need 10 more minutes to get dressed.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the guy who says, what would you like to eat? And then they go back and forth for a half hour, and everybody ends up getting heated because they can't decide on where to go. And half the problem is that the woman wants the guy to say where they're going to go, but at the same time, many women choose to make that an opportunity to have a conflict
Okay.
because she wants the guy to say where he wants to go so that she can shoot that down, and we can go back and forth and go through 6 different options before we finally go somewhere.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of reiterate, but you let me know if I'm hearing you correctly. And if I'm not, please correct me. But what I'm hearing is that ultimately women really want men to take the lead. And when they do, they resent it. Am I right on that? Like,
Yes,
really,
they
but
both-
women basically, they
both-
might not know it on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, what they really want is a guy to kind of like step up and take the lead. But in some cases, when men do that, women get angry. Am I sort of interpreting you correctly?
They want to oppose what he says. So it's not so much that they get angry as much as they enjoy the static between
Mhm.
the two of them.
And this is, of course, all women. I know it's a big planet,
I
but
did not say all women, and I will
Okay.
definitely say not all, not all, not all.
okay. So what we're saying is, in some relationships,
I would say that it sometimes seems that certain negative manifestations are a 50.001% group, if not more.
you have to elaborate on that 50 plus. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, you're always having to say, not all women are like that. However, there are certain things that you can say, I don't know how many women are like that, but it certainly appears that at least 50.0001% of women are.
And that's what you believe. I mean, I'm just sort of like listening to you and repeating back to you what I'm hearing.
Well,
Is that your experience?
That's my experience. That's
Okay.
also very many statistical statements of certain situations.
Okay, what are those statistics, and could you point me toward them? I have a background in research, so I love this. Could you point me toward those studies?
Well, off the top of my head, no, but it's very easy enough to find a statistic like the ending of relationships from relationship to divorce is somewhere between 70 to 90% the female ending the relationship.
Okay.
So if you said that at least 50.001% of all relationships are ended by the woman,
Mhm.
that would be something that would statistically hold up since the
Okay.
stats appear to be in 2024 somewhere between 70 to 90%.
Okay. Again, would you at least, even if you don't remember where you read that, was it like a government site?
Yes.
Was it a
those-
study?
Those are government statistics.
Okay. Do you remember
CDC
the
statistics?
Okay.
And the Bar Association statistics.
Okay, and so according to CDC and the Bar Association, run that statistic by me again, because I'm going to actually look this up.
Sure.
So what
Between
were the numbers?
70%
So
and
CDC.
90% of all relationships are ended by the woman.
Okay.
When it comes to divorce, if the woman is college educated, 90% of divorce filings are by the college educated woman.
Okay, so
That's
while,
an easy one to find.
so while Paul is looking that up, I have a question for you. Is there something about those statistics that supports maybe an argument that you have around this? So you brought the statistics up. does it support a certain philosophy that you have? We can dig a little deeper.
Well, one philosophy, if you want to call it that, is that women do not take marriage seriously enough.
Okay. And that's based, again, James, on what? Is that statistics or
If
anecdotal?
90%,
Anecdotal?
if 90% of college-educated women
Mm-hmm.
are filing for a divorce, typically within 3 to 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
how serious do they take their marriage?
Well, the first thing we have to do is we're going to break this down. So the first thing we have to do is confirm or verify that those statistics are actually
Alright.
correct. So, Paula, what
Okay,
did you find?
I'm not, this one is divorce.com, and it says-
Divorce.com?
Yeah, I
I
can't.
don't know if that's really.
I can't. I mean, the bar.
sorry, Paula.
I know, but the bar.
Divorce.com.
I know, but the bar association. I mean, is there a is?
Well, there is a website, but I can't tell you because I've
Yeah.
never gone to the bar
Yeah.
association. But I can't tell you that they give those statistics. I've never gone there, but you probably could do a keyword search where, when marriages end, what
Yeah,
percentage,
that's what I did, and the first-
CDC.
And the well, I don't know.
I'm putting CDC in there,
Okay.
it's interesting why it would be in CDC, but in any event, let's just
Yeah,
say
that is.
Center of Disease
That's why I
Control,
didn't
but
look
we'll just
up
say.
CDC because that didn't make any sense to me.
Well, I think we're here to
Okay.
discuss,
Okay, jump in, Greg, because we're looking this up.
Well, I'm thinking,
Centers for Fast Marriage and Divorce. Okay, here we go. It's the.
I just want to make sure because then
CDC.
once we have the numbers and
Number of divorces. Okay,
the
divorce
statistics,
rate.
and from there we can start
Detailed
actually
marriage divorce
talking.
tables, marriage rates in the United.
and making sure that we have the
These
right
are it's
information.
marriage and divorce statistics. Let's see what this says. Okay, marriage and divorce statistics. Change in report. It doesn't break it down according to what I'm seeing here. It's not breaking it down by sex.
Okay.
It's just telling you how many people get married, how many people get divorced.
Okay, so we know it's not on CDC.
Well, it might be, but I mean, there's a lot of information
well,
here.
the thing is, we only have an hour, and I don't think
Okay.
searching for the statistics
Well, let's-
matters. I think the discussion of relationships
Well,
matters.
the reason, Greg, why I put, I don't know if I put James on the spot, but the reason why I ask that is because oftentimes when people form, and again, I don't know you, James, I'm just meeting you here today, but oftentimes when we form opinions around things, for many people, they're not based on what the science or what the studies actually show. So if we're going to throw out something like this percentage of women are the ones who initiate a divorce, and we have to kind of back that up. We have to look at, if we're saying that we read this and there are statistics that support it, then
Yeah.
I want to see it because then that informs where this discussion goes. If I respond as if it is truth or that it's verifiable, then I can move the discussion on. But I have to know if those statistics are actually correct. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if they're not, then that whole argument just sort of falls apart. At least those numbers fall apart. So that's the reason why I wanted to go there. But I mean, obviously, I know we've only got an hour, so
yeah, but we only have 43 minutes left, and the
Okay.
thing I want to get from James is, I wrote the book How to Emotionally Satisfy a Woman, and I want to know, do you think, James, that men can emotionally satisfy a woman, and if so, how? In a relationship, can they satisfy a woman emotionally, and if so, how?
Yes and no. The problem with satisfying a woman is women are happy measured in seconds.
So they don't have the capacity to be happier for more than a few seconds?
It appears that a woman's happiness is measured in seconds. And whatever it is that you did to make her happy for those seconds is not going to be enough next week.
So it goes quickly. Like if you can emotionally satisfy a woman and she'll be happy with you, but then it's going to fade away pretty quickly, right? Is that what you're saying?
You're expected to come up with new things all the time.
Well, you're talking about things like, buying flowers or special occasion stuff. But if you have a consistently good set of communication skills where you talk about things. If something's upsetting you, you can talk and sit down and be rational human beings. And when a person is upset, to sit down with them and be kind and compassionate. You don't think a woman has the capacity to find happiness and contentment in a relationship for more than a few seconds?
If he loved me, he'd know what I want.
Oh, that's mind reading. I tell women to cut that out all the time. Yes, some women try to do that. They think that men can read their minds. I think those women are the ones whose fathers doted on them. I think those are the women who had fathers who could read their mind because they knew them since infants.
But again, these are generalizations.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a generalization.
Yeah, I mean, I
but-
can't give any sort of like credence to it.
But
It's generalization.
I feel
But,
that women have to have good communication skills as well. It's
Yeah.
not just the men.
I mean, I will say this. I do agree with James around, like, and I know we brought this up last week, but I'm going to reiterate it, that men and women, I mean, there's, from an evolutionary perspective, there are reasons why there's certain traits that men have and women have. I mean, that's just the reality
Yes.
of it. Our goal in life as humans is to procreate and to replicate. That's it. I mean, we are fundamentally animals. We're smart animals, but we're animals. So the differences, which are very clear between men and women, serve an evolutionary purpose.
Yes.
They're in place for that reason. They have to be, for us to continue, pairing up and mating and procreating. But what I wanted to get to is, what James's experiences are that have informed his worldview, if he's willing to go there.
In a limited sense, I would be okay with that.
Yeah. So I want to get back to that. You have to read a woman's mind. Okay. What has your experience been with that in your relationships? Has it always been like that?
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
Again, 50.001% at least.
Okay, so your experiences in most of your relationships were that females or women expected you to know what they were thinking. How did you handle those situations? I mean, how do you approach them?
Beg and plead, will you talk? Communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, some of them are at least honest enough to say, well, if I have to tell you what to do, I don't want it anymore.
Okay. Do you think it's possible, James, for men and women to have healthy relationships?
Yes,
Okay. What would that look like?
that would look like good communication.
On both sides, or just on? I mean,
Of course, it would have to be both sides.
Okay. Okay.
See,
Go ahead.
what I don't do, that at least 50.001% of women do,
Mhm.
is say, it's your problem.
Mhm.
I am perfect. All my male friends were wonderful and flawless, and the problem is with you guys. No, that's not my point.
And you think today women are pointing the finger at men, like all the problems of the world sort of really come down to men.
At least
Again, I'm just-
50.001% of them, yes.
What's the percentage, James? I didn't catch that.
At least.
At least, right.
50.001%.
Majority, you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you
You know, I wanna
resent? Do you
s-
resent the fact that
I was going to try and pull you in, Kenny, because I don't want to just.
Ken
sit
doesn't talk on the show?
I'm drowning out in the water.
Ken
here.
just you just hear for the eye candy.
Oh, Ken takes my place on this show as opposed to me on her show.
I have no idea what women think. I always, when I think I know what they're talking about, I'm totally wrong.
Okay.
Because if someone tells me something and I take it to what I think she means, and it's not because, if you're parting ways and you're going away with what she said, and then if you talk to somebody like, on the phone, you're just talking to a friend or something, and you happen to bring it up, that's not what she meant. I'm like, well, it sure sounded like it.
Well, yes,
Nope.
because they will lie to you.
I mean,
Well, do you
Women will
see-
lie. Okay,
but
no,
do
let's
you
just.
see-
I mean, I
let's
don't know
just-
if it was a lie. I mean,
Do you
depending on
see
what it was.
what Tosca has been doing with James? She repeats back in her words.
Yeah.
And she says, "This is what I understand you're saying to me."
Mhm.
That's a great communication skill. If you feel that you're understanding somebody, maybe if you repeat back to them, say,
Well-
"This is what I think you're saying." Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I'm sure I have questioned it
Yeah.
before, we parted ways or something.
Yeah.
But they don't acknowledge, like they don't explain it to you, what they're saying. They'll just say it with, they want you to, they're thinking that you have the understanding of what they're saying.
And that goes.
But then when you question it, they don't back it up with what they're really saying. They just let you go away and like this.
Well, that's why if you repeat back what you think they said, they
No,
because
no.
Well, I want to just talk to Greg. So, Greg, what would you wrote this book, obviously, and you feel very passionate about this subject. What would you, hearing both of these guys, I mean, there's a very clear worldview or experience in their relationships with women. Thinking about your book and thinking about the message you would like to get through with this book, what would you have to say to them about this?
Well, I'm in a different camp than the two of them. I think I connect so well with women, such a large extent with women, such a large percentage with women that I do understand them. I understand where they're coming from, and I almost always, I see what they're really all about, and their feelings and their emotions and their well, that's the same thing, but their feelings and what they want out of life. And I'm so in tune with women that I can't. It's kind of a disconnect for me to hear James and Ken talk about how they're, like James saying that well, Ken's saying that he can't get an explanation from what they're talking about, and James saying that they want you to read their mind, because I don't find that at all. I just get, maybe it's because I get doing in-depth conversations with all my female friends, and therefore I'm really getting into what's on their mind. So I don't have to I don't have to guess or read their mind, because I'm being told. I'm listening for hours on end over decades.
My question was going to be, and how many hours does it take you to actually get to what she's really thinking?
It depends. Like, for instance, my friend Beth, I'm very close with her, and I would say usually when I'm with her, I don't get to hear what she really is thinking for about 90 minutes. I'd say 90 minutes. At 90, and even if I say to her, "What are you thinking? What's going on? What are you thinking?" and she will not blurt it out. And I've talked to her about this many times. She will not give me get down to the real nitty gritty of what she's thinking, what she's feeling, what she wants me to understand until about 90 minutes in.
But could it be just because there are basically fundamental differences? I mean, there are. I mean, for women, emotions, connectedness. For men, maybe, sex.
Maybe sex.
I'm trying to be polite. I knew he was going to say that. Maybe sex.
The male
But-
thing with women, heterosexual couples, is sex. Sex is number one. Sex is number one, and sex is number one.
But Greg, again, I'm going to.
Am I wrong, James?
But Greg, I'm going to argue this like
There
I did
is a
last
number
week.
two. I just want to
It
point that
serves
out.
an evolutionary purpose. I mean, there's a reason why.
Yeah, like you said, procreation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for.
Well,
Whether we do it or not, but that's what we're here for.
I find that's the number one thing on men's minds when they meet a woman and when they are dating a woman. When they're,
So knowing that there are these fundamental differences,
Yeah.
your book is about what? Helping men to see what's important to women and to listen.
Well,
I mean,
I'm,
what are you
of course.
hoping? Like listening, because these guys are telling us. I mean, this book is for guys like this. I mean, that's the reality of it. I'm sorry.
For both of them.
For both of them. So here's an opportunity. I mean, they're both sharing.
like these guys.
They're both
She's not saying you're a
sharing their
loser.
but they're both sharing
Truth
their
came out.
challenges. So here is the opportunity.
But you are an
The
anomaly
opportunity
because
with this book to kind of like
your women
explain to them
friends are smart and interesting.
what needs to be known.
They must
doing two
see
conversations
what
at
I know. I'll wait till
see.
Paul is done, and then you can.
They
know-
love me.
But James, he's gonna Greg,
Yeah,
has
my
something
dream
to say
is
to you.
my dream is that because Ken can't read, so forget about Ken. But he's illiterate. But James, I was hoping you would take this book and it's like a pamphlet and just there's a lot of blank white spaces in it. So if you could take this book,
Right, sure
if you would
thought.
take this book as
You're
my gift
supposed
to
to
you,
say there's plenty of pictures if you can't read.
there's no photos in here. And so I was hoping that you would take this as my gift to you and just glance through it because it's like a pamphlet. So
Well, you'll have to autograph it, of course.
Right, but we check it out a little bit because it's easy breezy
And
pamphlet.
then maybe
it's a
after
bunch
he's
of
read it,
rules
we
and
can
a
have
bunch
you
of
come back
Yeah.
and chat with you in more depth about this. I mean, I think that would be great.
Let
Yeah.
me just say one thing that is based on something that our distinguished author has said. Now, if it takes 90 minutes to get to the meat of what a woman is actually thinking, wants to convey, and is willing to speaketh with her mouth, imagine the problem with the average man who comes home somewhere between 7 and 9 p.m. and he's got somewhere between a half hour and an hour left to actually communicate anything with his wife outside of the time when he's chewing the dinner that hopefully is there for him. When will he ever get a piece of valuable information from her?
So the dinner should be on the table for him. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I was like.
That's all I can focus. All I can
She's
focus on.
chomping at the bit.
All I can focus on is
Not
that.
my show.
All
Oh,
I'm
you
going
can
to
say
say
whatever you
is,
want.
if
You're one
dinner's
of the
not on
panel.
the table, then he probably has to eat before he gets home, which takes even more of that precious time that they might be able.
So James, I'll ask you this then. So let's, again, sort of like on this theme or this direction you're going. So I'm assuming,
spend talking
again,
to
I'm
each other.
assuming based on what you're telling me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that if he expects dinner to be on the table, that means that she doesn't work. She's home all day. Correct?
I didn't
Because if-
say that. However,
that's why I'm repeat-
comma,
that's why I'm-
I
I'm-
did not
I'm-
say that.
then tell me-
However,
tell me-
comma.
tell me.
However, comma.
Go on.
In my own relationships, I have had women who either didn't work and stayed home and still couldn't manage to do certain things, and I have had women who did work and, of course, thought that that was a reason for them not to be able to do certain things. Yet,
Okay.
I, as a man, am expected to do a whole bunch of stuff without any thought to the logistics of how I'm supposed to do that.
Okay. So let me ask you this, James. What are you looking for in a woman then? So this can help me sort of like that woman that you're coming home to, tell me more about her. What are you looking for?
Overall, at this
The
point,
qualities, yeah. Come on.
overall, at this point, the thing that I am most interested in is a woman who has empathy.
Okay. Okay.
What about looks? Do you
If-
care about looks?
Not as much as you would think.
Okay. Do you care about sense of humor?
Well, that's part of empathy, I would think.
I don't know. You
Not
can be very
really.
empathetic without having a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
let's
two
just
separate
say,
two separate categories.
let's just say if a woman's going to spend any amount of time with me, she better have a sense of humor.
No shit. Okay. Sorry about the
So,
outburst.
it doesn't sound to me, James, I mean, I'm not really getting a sense that that you might not be open to some of the things, or at least reading it. And,
What
You
makes
know,
you think that?
well, because, I don't,
May he will be though. May he'll read it and he'll get something out
He-
of it.
I don't know about that, but I feel, I mean, because I don't. I mean,
No, so far
but-
you don't. No.
But, when you say empathy, based on 30 minutes of talking to you, I expected you to stay home, say she's home, she's cooking, she's waiting for me, she's doing this for me and that for me because I've been out, earning a salary. And you didn't say that. And that's why I asked you, because I really wanted to get to the heart of what your expectation is from a woman in a relationship. When you're in a relationship with a woman, what is it you see? I mean, is it a relationship of equals?
May
is
I
it
have a
equal?
minute? Let me explain to you just one little piece of something that happened in a relationship that I had. So, this woman wanted to spend some time with me. And in order to do so, we had to actually make an appointment. Because for me, my schedule is crazy. And I don't know what state I'm going to be in on any given day unless we circle it in the calendar. And she has her own schedule, which is really kind of crazy. So we carve out this slice of time to be together. So we've only got a certain amount of time. When she arrives, she says to me, I need you to get my car ready when it's time for me to leave because it's kind of tight in the parking area and I just don't want to be bothered with all of the backing up and whatever. Fine. I don't have a problem with that. Every guy has had a woman throw the keys at him and say, you do it. So, after we're done with our time together, I dutifully go out in the rain and back up the car, pull it forward, and get it where all she has to do is step out the door and into the car. Did I mention the rain? So, she comes out and starts screaming bloody murder that while backing up the car and pulling it forward, the tire went into a mud puddle and therefore splashed mud on the car. And somehow it's my fault that there's splatters of mud on the car in the rain that she's now going to drive 10, 20 miles in the rain on the roads. And I say to her, what do you want me to do about that? It's literally impossible to turn this car around without hitting puddles. And for 3 days, she argued with me that at the very least I owed her to take her car through the car wash
Are you kidding?
because I got mud on her car. And I said to her, I do not control the rain. And if you are upset with this, you have no empathy.
Okay.
Because you're not looking at what you asked me to do, what I did, what I control, what I don't control.
Okay.
And we have spent 3 days arguing over nothing.
James, I take it you're not together anymore.
No.
Okay. So let me. I didn't think so. But I thought I
broke up?
clarified.
Good assumption.
Who broke up? Was it her? Because usually it's 90% of the women break up.
I'm the one who broke
Wow,
up that one.
that's a rarity where it's not the woman.
James,
It's the man who broke up.
James, let me ask you this then.
Just a second.
I'm just-
I want to tell you something.
Yes.
It is an interesting fact in my life that I am one of the rare guys who can say that he has broke up with more women than women have broke up with him.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
Thank
a
you.
rarity,
Thank
definitely.
you.
'Cause you're-
So
it's
let's
usually
get,
90%
getting
is
back to your
women.
relationships. You're a mature guy, so I'm guessing that you've had a good number of relationships in your life.
Just a few.
Would you say that this situation with this woman, have you had other relationships that were like that?
Yes.
So what percentage of the relationships, if you can think percentage-wise, what percentage of relationships you've had seem to follow that pattern?
You want to say it, Greg?
90%.
At least 50.001%.
No, all
Percent of
your
your
classic,
relationship,
at
not the
least,
woman.
yeah.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
the relationship. What percentage of your relationship
Again, at
seem
least.
to follow this pattern?
At least 50 point.
Over half.
Yes.
So the
half.
other half don't.
Off the top of my head, I really can only think of one that did not follow that particular vein
So you
track.
want, you
Okay.
want to stay with her then because she didn't follow that track? Or did you break up with her?
Funny enough, I did break up with her. However, comma, I would have stayed with her forever,
Right.
except for the fact that she has generational mental illness in her family.
Yeah.
And as she got older, it got worse. Her father literally died in a mental institution, and at this very moment, she is having certain issues, and that's really the only reason why we broke up.
Okay.
Right.
So
But
the-
we digress because I do want to get back to, thanks for sharing that. I want to get back to the percentage of relationships. So you're saying this woman was an exception, but the majority of the relationships you've had with women have followed that pattern, correct?
The majority of relationships I have had, women have not exhibited an empathy.
Okay. So I'm going to throw this out to you, James. Do you see a common denominator to all these relationships?
Well, obviously, we can say that I was in a relationship with everyone that I've been in a relationship with.
Yeah.
and
So you could be the
I-
common denominator, are we saying?
Can I be the cause, though?
Well, James, I'm going to throw out a wise man once said, and you can take from this what you may. If one person you meet in your day or your days is a jerk, or actually the term is jackass, but I'll go with jerk. But no, let's go with jackass. If one person you meet as you're going about your day is a jackass, that person is probably a jackass. But if every person you meet is a jackass, it's probably you.
Or
So,
you live in
I'm just-
Jackassville.
or you're just
But-
making choices.
No, but what I'm saying
yeah.
is, if one person he's met is like this, and I'm not saying that you're a jackass. That was a saying, but it's the idea behind it is this: that if one or two relationships are like this, yeah, it could be them. But if every relationship you have is like that, who are you drawing to you?
And
Well, let him. He's
Yeah.
mulling it over. Who are you? I mean, because the common denominator in all of these stories is you.
Is it my turn now?
Do you hear me speaking?
Well, see, I don't know, because every time I try to talk, you continue to speak.
No, James, I stopped.
Thank you.
I stopped and I looked at you, and there was easily 5 seconds. So we're still waiting, James.
And now I'll speak. So, first of all, by your line of thinking, every person who's called me a nigger somehow had something to do with me. As opposed to my thought, maybe that's them. Next up,
Okay, go ahead.
at one point I was contemplating the universe, the stars, and everything. And I noticed something. If I just look at my senior high school class, it came to me that I only know 5 women out of my senior class who married, had children, and did not divorce their husband. 5. Only 5. Now, either that means that all of the guys who married all of these women or tried to have a relationship with them are the reason why their wives were unsatisfied and ended their marriage, or maybe I only met 5 women who took marriage seriously in high school.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, so James, the point I was making with that, first of all, is just a theory. I don't know this to be true because I don't know you. But what I do know is there's this idea that, and some people believe this, and I'm just throwing this out there, that the things that we draw to ourselves, there's something in the spaces that we move. It's a large planet. There are billions of people on this planet. So if every relationship is like that, there's a question to ask why.
Can-
There's a question to ask why is every, when I was 19, the very first guy that I dated wasn't great. I ended the relationship, but I held on to hope that I'd meet somebody really nice, and I believed it. I never dated anyone like him again. So I guess what I'm asking is, why is, for you, as you think about these women in your life, because it's a big planet, there are a lot of good people out there, why is it that these women, they might look different, the names might be different, but the personality traits are the same? That's the question I'm posing to you.
Can I just add one thing? After the last relationship before Greg, I realized that I had a pattern that was happening to me. I was dating assholes. I was apparently attracted to assholes. And I stopped dating because I wanted to figure out what I saw in these people that were bad for me. Bad, very bad for me. And I realized that because I expected men to be assholes, only the ones that were assholes were attractive to me. And when I left that off, when I stopped, it was like 2.5 years of not dating anyone. And I started looking at the men I had rejected, and I realized there was this pattern, and I would reject the good guys because I had expected men to be assholes, and if they weren't, I wasn't attracted to them. I had to let go of that. It took a lot. We were talking about how hard it is to change your patterns and your ideas in the beginning. So I was able to see my destructive behavior, which was attracting these kind of men, and I was attracted to them because they were what I was used to. And then I had to stop completely because I had gone off men completely because I knew that man that I had the hots for was going to was an asshole. He wasn't going to turn into one. He happened to be one. That's how I was able to have a relationship with Greg, because by that point I had detoxified the way I looked at men. Because Greg is a good guy, and we were friends. We were best friends. And that's how I was able to have a relationship with him, because I detoxified. And I think that there might be a part of you that needs to detoxify. Not that you're a great guy. I like you. You know that.
And I like you.
I just don't want you to keep picking these women that you keep aside.
There's just a little something that ladies seem to not understand very well. There is a difference between dating if you're a woman and dating if you're a man. You see, women get to pick what guys they want. Guys get to pick what women have already picked them.
What do you think?
It's true. I mean,
It's true,
it
James.
points to an
James, you're right.
evolutionary.
Greg always
points to
says that too.
Yeah, it points to an evolution. I mean, there's an evolutionary reason why. I mean, I do agree. Women, it's funny because I've had this discussion with my husband. Looking at different animals, different species, and I hate to bring it back to. I don't hate to bring it back to science, but when you think about a woman choosing a mate, she has to choose, and even if it's not on a conscious level, a woman is choosing a mate who can take care of her, who can take care of her children. She's getting the best genetic match so that she can have the healthiest offspring. So, think about it. Why, people will say you're at your prime for a woman in your 20s or 30s, because that's the prime period. I mean, your body is, ready to have children and pass on this gene. So if we're just separating ourselves from the intellectual aspect of this, that, we're thinking animals and we're so smart, we are fundamentally animals. And yes, women are in the position where they do, and I agree with you on that, they get to choose. Yeah. Because I have to make sure I choose the best mate that's going to give me the best chance at having the healthiest
Does that go
offspring.
into, does that continue on past those productive years?
You know, as women get older?
Yes.
I've been married for like almost 30 years, so I can't really speak to that. I don't know. All my friends are like me. They've been married
Yeah.
long term. So I don't know anyone my age who's single who I could ask that question to. I don't know.
Because
I would say probably not.
Yeah,
I think it changes as we get older. So I would have to say,
yeah,
I
your
mean,
priorities.
yeah,
change,
your priorities.
definitely,
I'd say probably not. Yeah.
How does it make you feel, James, that women usually do the picking and men don't do the picking? How does that make you feel?
There's nothing to feel about it. It's just a fact of life.
So you don't feel any emotions about it. It just is.
It's just a fact of life.
You don't resent it, or you're not sickened by it. Because I've talked to some men who are sickened by the whole idea. I've talked to actually.
Well, there are some men who
many
don't
men.
understand the point that, as a fact of life for humans, 80% of women have had children, and only 40% of men do. So it's just a fact that
Do the math.
Are you resentful?
Am I resentful? No, but I can see why all the men. I think about. I could start listing their names. You know, I'm not going to do that, but who are resentful about it. They're really frustrated.
I can understand
They're
these
frustrated.
men
They're
because
very frustrated.
I can understand these men because the point is, you're told how to be a good man, and there are people who have spent their entire life trying to be a good man, and yet it doesn't matter. You've done everything that you were told to do, and you're still not going to be rewarded with what you were actually. Who moved the cheese?
Eh?
They're saying I did all of this stuff to do right, and there's no cheese at the end of this maze.
Why am I not passing the goal line then? I should be penetrating the end zone then, right?
I should have that Super Bowl trophy already.
Right.
So do you think
Football
that
analogy.
there are pressures on men then, that these sort of unattainable pressures are put on men?
Pressure is put on men, period. Now, as far as the unattainability, it's a question of what you're looking for. The problem that we have right now is that average women think that they should have better than average men. So an average man cannot find an average woman to get together and have some sort of stable situation.
Go to
What
Walmart.
role do you think like social messaging might play in that? Like, you know, TV shows and movies and, you know, the messages that we get around who we deserve as a mate. And I'm just putting deserve in quotation marks.
Advertising, too,
yeah,
including on
like
TV.
who we deserve. He should be, she should look like, he should have this. Do you think it plays a role?
Well, of course, it's. But all of that is out there to push the culture in a certain direction.
Okay.
And the difference that I see is that men understand that there's a certain pecking order, so to speak. And while I will joke that Paula Abdul and Janet Jackson won't return my calls, it is a joke because we all know why. And in fact, there were some friends talking, and someone said, if you have enough money, you can have any woman come to live with you. And my response was, not all women are Janet Jackson. Because, of course, she took a $500 million payout for just such an arrangement.
With the father, clarify that for me.
Her marriage to a Saudi member of the royal family was complete with a prenuptial that said she would get a certain amount of money if they were married for 5 years, and a certain extra amount of money if she bore him a child. Extra money if the child was a boy. Strangely enough, she filed for divorce within months of their 5-year anniversary and took the child back to the United States. So she got $500 million and the child. He got, I guess, 5 years with her.
Okay. So what was the point of that? I'm just trying to think. So you share that to
The
the point of that, yeah.
just this thing that it is true that a certain number of women will do just about anything for money. But
Okay.
the average guy looking at that is left with A, I don't have $500 million to buy Janet Jackson or anybody else.
Okay.
B, where does that leave me?
Okay, so I would say, so if a certain amount of women, using your words, are willing to do anything for money, then a certain amount of men are willing to, by that argument, you could flip it. A certain amount of men are willing to spend X amount to have the woman they want.
Like down in the
Would you-
Melania.
True. True.
Yeah. Would you? Okay.
She said, the reason I'm with him is because he was a billionaire.
Okay.
It wasn't because of his personality or obviously, or his looks. It was, she said it on camera about it was because of his money.
But I want to get, because I think I've heard other, men share this, that they feel, and I think this might get to the heart of it, and again, I don't know, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of men, average men, feel resentful and angry that we live in a society where if you're not loaded, or this perception that if you're not loaded, or you don't have, X amount of cars, money, whatever, you're not going to find someone. So I was thinking when you said earlier, an average woman, and I'm putting it in quotation marks, is not going to want an average guy. So you have the average woman and the not so average woman, and they're all like looking at that apex guy. Am I correct?
True.
Okay. What do you think needs to change? I mean, how does that, do you feel that's creating a breakdown in relationships between men and women?
I do.
Okay, there we go. It gets to the heart of it.
Can it be
You see?
healed? Is there any promise of healing?
Well, this brings up the question of who needs to change in order for that to heal.
Who is it? Is it the men or the women?
I think we just spent some time discussing what can the men do. They're literally impotent in this situation.
Well, I mean, they're figuratively impotent, I think.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, but
literally impotent, I mean, they
I'd say
can't get it
they're
up.
I know that's but we're fed a lot of media.
That's what I'm trying to get to. I
Yeah.
mean, it's almost like being in a matrix. We're not, as much as we were having this discussion earlier on about, independent thought and free will. How much free will do we have? As much as I consider myself like everyone in here. Obviously, this is an intelligent group of people, all of us here. And I'd like to believe that I'm really like attuned to the messaging that I see every day and that I'm bombarded with. But the reality is, I know I'm not. Because the people behind these messaging, whatever it is that they're trying to sell, they know human nature and they know how the human brain works. So we're all in many ways being manipulated, being manipulated around this. So again, are men and women really to blame for something that is set in place and that we're all, all of us are subject to, James? I mean,
If I were to be bombarded with media saying that raping women is fun, if I were to actually rape a woman, who would be responsible?
You.
yeah, but that,
So if media is bombarding the message that men are irrelevant, horrible people, and you wouldn't want anything to do with them except to use them for resources and maybe one or two kids just in case, so that you can continue to have resources. and someone follows that plan, allegedly based upon being bombarded with that message, who is responsible?
Well, I want to say real quick because we're running down on time. We'll have to have you come back, James, if you want to.
Why wouldn't I
Yeah.
spend more time with Paul?
But what I want to say, using rape as I don't think it's like apples and oranges.
It's
So
hyperbole.
yeah,
But is
but
it
I
though?
want to get back to this. The way the brain works, the studies around how suggestible we are and how we're manipulated. I mean, there are very clear studies around this, around what the message is, what we read, what we see over and over and over again. Why is social media addictive? Because the science behind it and the people behind these sort of apps and these, social media know how the brain works. I mean, you want to think, all of us want to think that we're in control, but the reality is that we're really not. And I think that fundamentally, social and cultural impact is really strong, and it really drives a lot of this behavior.
But I feel like the women I know, young and old, do not fit into the category of women that you are talking about for the most part.
Well, he's not. He's always been saying it's not every woman he's talking
No,
about.
I know. I know that too. But the
Yeah.
thing is, so when I do see the things that you send me, and I think to myself, don't even look at this.
That would make me an
You're
ostrich.
gonna get upset.
Okay, we're getting
We're getting close
yeah.
to the end. So James, I really want to thank you for coming here.
Great guest, James.
You were, and I do mean this. I'd like to continue this.
Yeah, you got to
Part
come back,
two.
James, if you want
Part
to
two,
sometime.
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
thank
Bring
you.
course you're
stati-
fine.
statistics with you.
So on,
7 seconds, 6 seconds.
so on that note, everyone who joined us,
4
thank you so much.
seconds.
And James, thank you for
My
being here with
pleasure.
us today.
You're
It was-
very
it was
candid.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Have a good
Bye.
night. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Happy